For the record, when I recorded this, my throat was extremely scratchy. I believe I'm coming down with something as I'm recording this, so if that's why I sound off this video, you know why. Anyway, on with it. In the modern FNAF series, while everyone's concerned about Glitch Trap and the Mimics and Gregory, it's kinda nice to see something a little more classic. This is the week before, the technical first entry in the FNAF interactive novel series. The actual first is the currently free VIP, which is half the length of this bad boy, which cost me $10 USD. And to be completely honest, this was money well spent. The week before is a lot of fun. The interactive novel format is most comparable to the Choose Your Own Adventure series, where you decide your path. That said, one of the selling points of this book is its numerous endings, boasting over 50 of them. Now, with that being said, it's a little bit of a lie, because it counts deaths as endings. In truth, there's actually only a handful of endings wherein you either survive or you get a definite finish to the story. And there's also not over 50, there's over 70. So today, we're gonna talk about all of them. That's right, every game over page and death will be recapped and explained, pried into, and otherwise dissected. I hope you enjoy this one, FNAF fans, and if you do, please feel free to subscribe. We're almost at 60,000, and I know with just a little bit of a push we could get to even 70 before the year ends. But enough plugging, let's begin. I'll be covering these by page number for the record. Page 6, Closet Ending. In this ending, Ralph looks for light bulbs in the supply closet only to find Bonnie waiting for him. He dies in a similar manner to Hank in the FNAF movie. Page 10, Dining Hall Ending. Ralph sprints for the bathroom but is caught by Chica from behind and dies. Page 11, Distraction Ending. Ralph decides to flip over a table as a distraction for Bonnie and Chica, but unknowingly stumbles into Freddy's arms and dies. Page 18, Foxy in the Bathroom Ending. Foxy attacks Ralph in the bathroom, Ralph throws a light bulb at him which only agitates him and prompts Foxy to kill him. Page 20, My Favorite Ending. Similar to page 18, Foxy attacks you in the bathroom, with the only significant difference being Ralph's final thoughts. But you were always my favorite. I'd also like to point out that several of these endings connect to both the original phone guy and the FNAF 2 phone guy, so it's nice to have some confirmation to some degree that these are in fact the same character. We'd always suspected that, but there's also always been doubt, because for the first 4 games, Scott was the only voice actor, and he does actually play at least 2 different characters in those 4 games. Page 21, 6-second ending. Ralph tries to prevent Foxy from entering the bathroom this time by holding the door shut with his body, but can't manage to do so for even 6 seconds. Page 23, Foxy's song ending. This is probably the biggest lore reveal from the whole Foxy in the bathroom arc. In this ending, Ralph watches Foxy stalk towards him and remembers how he used to be a main stage animatronic before being banished to Pirate's Cove. This is something we had never heard before and paints Foxy in a bit of a darker light. Page 25, Foxy catches you on the toilet. Pretty self-explanatory, but Foxy yanks the stall door open and you die. What's notable is it describes how Foxy can hear sounds that are nearly imperceptible. Page 35, Bonnie's stuffing ending. In this ending, Bonnie manages to break Ralph's arm and pulls him backstage, and actually stuffs him inside Golden Freddy. I believe this confirms that the suit itself is actually a real suit, and not an apparition as many of us once thought. Page 50, Wendy ending. This ending has Wendy the 911 operator pick up the phone. She explains how she thought Freddy's had closed down a while ago and how she was glad she wasn't working when the calls from it started pouring in during the missing child incident. Before you can get any help though, Ralph is grabbed from behind and killed. Page 51, Laughter ending. This is related to an action from a previous page, but basically Ralph calls the phone backstage to lure Bonnie away. However, someone actually picks up the phone. It's a child, crying and saying in a warped voice, "It's me." If you ask, "Who are you?" you get this ending, where the phone dies and the child's laughter penetrates Ralph's mind. He's yanked out from under the table he was hiding under and is hauled backstage to be stuffed into a suit. Now while you might say this is a Golden Freddy ending, I'm not entirely sure about that for reasons we'll get to. For now, just know that this could be nearly any spirit. It may even be Bonnie himself having picked up the phone, or rather, Jeremy. And that's every ending in Night 1. Not a whole lot of lore to dig through in most of these endings, but the ones that do have some are really fascinating. And for the record, there's a lot of lore not in these ending pages, but littered throughout. Let me know if you want to see me go through a full dive on the book in the future. For now, let's move on to Night 2. Page 56, Foxy's Run ending. In this ending, Ralph forgets to check on Foxy in Pirate's Cove and dies when he runs down the hall. We've all been there. Page 60, Freddy poster ending. Ralph actually sees the rare Freddy ripping his head off Easter egg, which is a nice little detail. Then, once again, Foxy kills him, but it's described very similar to a scene in the movie where Ralph sees him just standing at the end of the hall first. Spooky. Page 63, Cold Ass Bonnie ending. In this ending, you put Bonnie's head back on and twist his head a specific direction. In retaliation, he wakes up and grabs your head. Ralph pleads that he has a daughter, but Bonnie doesn't care and snaps his neck. Cold as fuck. Page 67, fired and sued ending. Ralph doesn't use the proper tools to repair Bonnie's head, so the next day it falls off mid-performance and traumatizes a child at their birthday party. So Ralph is fired, with his boss telling him Fazbear Entertainment's lawyers will be in touch. I just want to point out that this doesn't tell us who Ralph's boss is, unfortunately, but based on the dialogue alone, I almost want to say Henry, just because I don't think William would talk like this. Just some food for thought. Page 70, sad Foxy ending. This one is kind of cute and sad. Foxy bursts into parts and service to come after you, but notices how there aren't any spare parts for him. Just Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica. You and him both rationalize that that's why Foxy has never been repaired. Ralph even considers how damaging that must be for Foxy, before the animatronic stabs him to death with a screwdriver. Funny stuff. Page 72, Freddy head ending. Ralph puts on a spare Freddy head to hide from Foxy, but as anyone who's played FNAF 2 would know, that never works on him. What's interesting is that this may be the same Freddy head as in FNAF 2. Ralph thinks it smells like sweat, coffee, and cigarettes, implying that a human has worn this head before. Cool stuff. Page 75, heart attack ending. This one is kind of funny because I believe it's in reference to the old Foxy's a good guy theory, but it's also one of the few endings from these first couple of nights that doesn't involve him in any way. Instead, Chica jump scares Ralph, who falls on the floor and has a heart attack. His final thoughts are that a chicken with teeth is weird, and I kind of have to agree. Page 79, Party Room 1 ending. This ending is probably among the more ridiculous ones, but Ralph accidentally ends up locked in Party Room 1 while hiding from Chica. He surmises that he will be fired in the morning. Page 84, Mr. Cupcake ending. In this ending, Ralph finds Mr. Cupcake and holds him up to his ear. Not sure if it's an animatronic or a prop. Unfortunately, it is an animatronic, which bites and kills him. And that's night 2, way more funny deaths than on night 1 and a lot less lore in my opinion. So let's move on to night 3. Page 89, Bloody Closet ending. This one is similar to the last closet ending with Bonnie killing you after stumbling inside. However, this one has the added bit of dark humor of a janitor the next day calling you lazy for leaving blood spilled in front of the closet. Then he grabs the mop and quote, starts mopping you up. Page 97, Household Chemicals ending. Ralph mixes bleach and other chemicals together in the supply closet to clean up the blood near one of the windows. However, he's locked inside and the fumes choke him to death. Definitely one of the dumber ways to die at Freddy's. Never mix household chemicals. Page 99, Footprints ending. Okay, this has to be my favorite of the funny endings. Having just mopped up the blood, you duck under a table to hide from Chica. She finds you because you leave behind wet footprints right to your hiding spot and she kills you. However, you remain conscious long enough to see your own blood on the floor and think, I just cleaned that. This is maybe the best book I've ever read. Page 100, Woods ending. This is a really strange ending. Ralph manages to evade Chica by escaping through the broken window, only to be caught by her outside. But instead of being dragged into the restaurant, she instead drags Ralph into the nearby woods. After that, it's left ambiguous what she intends to do with you, but it's definitely a creepy ending. Page 104, Hammer and Boards ending. Ralph quickly nails boards to the broken window with a hammer, but fails to realize the music playing in the restaurant has stopped until it's too late. He turns around and Freddy is there. In his last moments, he realizes he boarded up his only escape in a tragically ironic fate. Page 106, Coward ending. Ralph abandons his post in the middle of the night, and over the course of the 5 nights outside of Freddy's, various children turn up missing, in a string of incidents leading directly to Ralph's apartment. It ends with the animatronics trying to break in to kill him and his daughter, Capelia. Page 109, Dream ending. Ralph relaxes at 5:58 a.m. thinking he's safe for the night, but realizes he's neglected checking Pirate's Cove. Foxy kills him in his office, but he's convinced it's a bad dream and he'll wake up under one of the party tables. This does not happen. Page 110, 365 nights ending. This one is weird and also kind of makes me feel bad for Chica. In this ending, you attack the nearest thing with a mop, which happens to be Chica, and hit her hard enough to knock one of her eyes out and make her whimper. The next day, you're fired and billed for damaging her. But the funniest part is that in order to pay the damages off, Ralph has to stay an entire extra year. And that's night 3. A lot of these endings felt more creepy and definitely more grandiose in some ways. There is that feeling that things are getting more aggressive as the week continues. So let's go to night 4. Page 126, Cautionary Tale ending. Ralph gets lost in the vent leading out of the security office. This results in him dying and rotting, with customers complaining of the smell over a period of time. He eventually becomes a cautionary tale for other night guards to never crawl in the vents. The ironic thing is this might have already happened to someone, as Ralph can actually find someone's bones in the vents as well. Page 130, Bonnie vent ending. In this ending, Ralph tries to noisily kick the vent grate off in the dining area, but doesn't realize Bonnie is in the vent with him. He dies as Bonnie jump scares him from around the corner. Page 133, Foxy vent ending. Basically the same as the last ending except Foxy kills you instead. Not much to talk about here, leave me alone. Page 134, Hook vent ending. Once again a vent ending where Foxy kills you, but this one has the gnarly description of Ralph feeling Foxy's hook go through his leg, which also tells us that it's not just for show. They put a real ass hook on Foxy. Jesus. Page 135, Dad joke ending. This is another funny one. Ralph manages to get into the break room by kicking the vent grate off. He even cracks a joke about it being called the breaker room because you have to break into it. Chica starts after him and he defends himself saying the joke wasn't that bad, and then fucking Foxy shows up and steals the kills. Someone restrain this fucking Foxy, he's just fucking everywhere. No joke, Foxy might be the main villain of this book. He just might be. Page 140, Electrocution ending. When starting the breakers, Ralph pushes all 4 buttons at once, leading to him being shocked with 1.2 gigawatts of electricity and dying. Honestly, not much to say, but it's just a relief we don't have 4 endings in a row where Foxy kills Ralph. Again. Page 141, Puzzle ending. This one is another favorite of mine because it feels like a jab at theorists in the way that Mr. Hippo's UCN dialogue was a jab at theorists. Ralph is trying to find some sort of code to determine the order to push the buttons in, and decides the Freddy poster in the room is some kind of key. So he tries to decipher the word party that's written on it as numbers, but spends so much time doing that Freddy himself sneaks up behind him and kills him. What a blessed ending. Page 143, Performance ending. When the lights come back on, you don't hide, and the animatronics all immediately see you. Bonnie grabs you and sits you down to watch their routine. Death is assured eventually, but for now Ralph is just a very captive audience. Page 145, Whack-A-Ralph ending. Ralph ducks under the tables and chairs to hide from Bonnie and Chica, but they know he's there. They start trying to smash him with Bonnie's guitar, ergo the ending's name. But the interesting part of this ending is Ralph finding a small pile of bones, and determining they haven't come from the kitchen since Fazbear's chicken wings are boneless. So very likely this is another dead body, and one we don't have a source for. Page 148, Irony curtain ending. Yet another ending where Ralph's sense of humor gets him killed. This time while he's hiding in Pirate's Cove, he peeks through the curtain and sees Foxy. The irony then strikes him that he's in Foxy's place while Foxy is in his. This makes him laugh and alerts Foxy to his presence, getting Ralph killed. Never play chicken with a fox. Page 150, Stealing ending. By taking some coins out of the left pan of the scale in Pirate's Cove, Ralph alerts Foxy, who then kills him. I think we might be getting back into that pattern again. Page 133, Watching ending. Ralph realizes that this whole time the animatronics were aware of his presence in Pirate's Cove. Freddy, Chica, and Foxy were all looking at him from the dining area, but Bonnie was missing because he ends up right behind Ralph. Page 154, Foxy's party ending. After turning the lights off, all the animatronics seem to go to bed, but on Ralph's way back to the security office, Foxy catches up to him because, quote, this is how he likes to party. Page 155, Face in the Vent ending. You decide to try to yank on the grate to open the vent, but that doesn't work in time. Bonnie shows up and pushes it open himself now that you've loosened it for him. But he doesn't kill you, because who shows up to steal the kill? It's that fucking fox again, I can't stand this shit. And that's everything from night 4. I don't know if you could tell, but that was a pretty foxy heavy night. Actually, this whole book so far has been extremely foxy heavy. Let's hope that changes with night 5, eh? Page 163. Hello ending. Ralph accidentally lets Chica into his office and tries to figure out where the human-like groans he's hearing are coming from. It's only after he puts the monitor down he realizes it's Chica, and she's trying to say hello. Then, you know, he dies. Page 165, Squirt gun ending. Ralph is cornered by Chica but shoots her with a squirt gun. It actually does nothing. In fact, he literally says I should have expected that as his last words before dying. Page 166, The Ralph ending. Ralph reminisces about a pizza being named after him that nobody liked, all after he shut down rumors about the bite of 87. One of those rumors was that the animatronics were weak to bright lights. Ralph shines his light in Chica's eyes, but it doesn't work and he dies. A reminder that the only animatronic who could be fended off with the light in FNAF 2 was Foxy, while the others were only slowed down by it. Page 167, Thumper ending. Ralph tries to escape to the closet in the West Hall, but Bonnie is already coming his way, his footsteps sounding like thump, thump, thump. Ralph says he should have been named Thumper, but Fazbear was in enough legal trouble as is. He once again sees Freddy ripping his own head off before Bonnie actually snaps his neck. Like, straight up, that's what he does. He is fucking brutal in this book, and apparently likes snapping necks. Page 168, Stay Frosty ending. Ralph gives Chica Mr. Cupcake by throwing it at her. Unfortunately, it bounces off her bib and rolls under the desk, only to then attack Ralph's leg. Chica drags them both out of the office. Page 170, WTF ending. I named this ending this way because I have no idea what it could mean. You throw Mr. Cupcake into the ventilation shaft, but it comes back out with a bite taken out of it. Chica retreats with Mr. Cupcake, and you see a pair of glowing eyes and a big grin about to bite you. Later on, Bonnie is in this vent, but I don't think that's who this character is meant to be. It's worth theorizing about later on, but this is just a really weird ending, and there's nothing else really like it in this book. Page 173, Wishbone ending. This ending is a good one, alright? Ralph ends up sandwiched between Bonnie and Chica at the left and right doors, who each grab a hold of him and pull him, breaking him in the middle like a wishbone on Thanksgiving. Just a really funny, if morbid, reminder that they are being piloted by the ghosts of kids. Page 174, Cameras ending. This one is wild to me. Foxy and Chica enter the office while Ralph hides in the vent, but they're still looking for him, so they actually start checking the cameras to try and find Ralph there. This is something we'd never considered possible before, and it freaks Ralph out. They're strategic, they're intelligent. Oh, and Ralph gets killed by Bonnie, who was also in the vent. Page 175, Vent door ending. Ralph has both doors to his office closed, meaning there's not enough power to divert to the ventilation. The vent door is unable to close, and Bonnie gets inside, killing him. Page 182, The New You ending. This one is a bit fuzzy. Ralph waits out his shift but is blacked out. When he wakes up, he makes sure he's not an animatronic or stuffed inside one, and reasons that everything must have been a hallucination. He goes home wondering if Coppelia will like the new him. If Into the Pit's stuffed ending is anything to go off of, it's still very possible that Ralph was stuffed in an animatronic and doesn't know it. Even as recently as the Tales books, but as old as the Frights books, it's made clear that ghosts don't know that they're dead, at least not at first. So I think in this ending, Ralph returns home to Coppelia haunting an animatronic. Which one? Who's to say? Page 184, Trauma ending. Ralph dials 911, who sends 2 squad cars out to help him. The animatronics attack but end up gunned down by the cops. Fazbear Entertainment can't fire Ralph by now since this was his last night, but they do end up suing him for defamation. But the worst part is that Ralph can no longer trust his own seeing and hearing, and half suspects he's still back at the restaurant, having never left. Page 185, Promise ending. Yet another really interesting one. Ralph calls home to talk to his daughter and tell her one more message. Don't come here. He knows he's dead and uses his last moments to make sure his daughter is safe. But strangest of all is he makes a deal with Foxy. He tells Foxy that if he promises to leave Coppelia alone, he'll stay. Foxy nods, but Ralph realizes he didn't have much choice in the matter anyway. It's another strange ending that humanizes these characters way more than they've ever been. And now we get to the canon ending of the book, page 187, The End. This is the ending to the phone guy we've all known about, with dialogue taken straight from FNAF 1, but more pieces of the puzzle are colored in for us. For example, we now know why Phone Guy was seemingly lying to the player character across his phone calls. It was because Ralph didn't think anyone would believe him if he said what was actually happening. The best he could do was give some solid advice for the next guy. We also now know how he died. Every animatronic attacking him at once, with all of them screaming in sync. And he gets stuffed in an animatronic, with the only thing he could do now being to wait for someone to find him. And that's the canon ending, the one that leads into FNAF 1. Oddly enough, Ralph also thinks to himself 2 words that are repeated everywhere in this book. It's me. He says it, Bronwyn says it, Coppelia/Chica says it, Freddy says it, everyone is saying it. Even Pirates Cove is saying it. But it's not the last ending of the book. Page 189. The End? This is the neutral ending of the book, with Ralph surviving his 5 nights but feeling like his actions there have only made things worse somehow. Like there was something he should have done that he didn't get to. The worst thing he's done though is live, or at least that's what he tells himself. It's not exactly the worst ending, but it's definitely one of the more boring ones. There are still a few deaths left in night 5, but there is one more night after this, so let's get a move on. This is kind of taking the light out of me. Page 191, Flashlight Fail ending. Ralph once again tries to defend himself from Foxy using the flashlight, but Foxy is actually able to bypass it by, get this, squinting. But while you might think this means Foxy is going to kill Ralph, it's actually Bonnie sneaking from behind in the vent that gets the kill. It prompts a hilarious moment between Ralph and Foxy where they both seem to just be annoyed by Bonnie showing up at that moment. Page 192. Sorry ending. Once again, Foxy makes it in, but in this ending, Ralph finally comes to the realization that the animatronics are haunted, tortured souls forced to perform day in and day out. His last words as Foxy hooks him are, I'm sorry. Page 194. Teaser ending. This ending actually teases the pathway to night 6. Ralph punches random numbers into the phone to access messages. After a lot of fooling around with it, he actually finds the right one before he is pulled backwards into the darkness, only hearing the very beginning of Bronwyn's message. Page 195. Big Bite ending. This might be an ending you saw circulating online before the book officially released. By punching 1983 into the phone, Ralph hears an audio recording of the bite of 83, or as it's known, the Big Bite. He's then presumably killed by an animatronic biting his head similar to the crying child's death, but it's unclear what animatronic this is. It could once again be Bonnie, since he's the cause for most of these office deaths this night, or it could even be Golden Freddy. It's left ambiguous. And that's it for night 5, a lot of huge endings including the actual canon one. I'm a big fan of this night, but we're not done yet. Let's move on to the secret 6th night. Page 204, failure ending. The whole goal of Night 6 is to prevent a plot the animatronics have from taking effect, that being that they want to leave the restaurant by overcharging their batteries. In this ending, by simply sitting around and waiting, the animatronics just leave the restaurant and you've lost. Page 205, Friends from Work ending. While Ralph is distracted by Bonnie in the vents, the other animatronics again make their escape. In fact, Coppelia calls Ralph, telling him his friends from work are there. She even puts Freddy on the phone, who says, "It's me." Presumably, they would then kill Coppelia and Ralph. Page 214, Debt ending. This one just proves to me that Foxy is the true main antagonist of the book. Okay, after deactivating the stage animatronics, Ralph returns home, but he forgot about Foxy. Foxy tries to attack, but Coppelia uses the water gun Ralph gave her to short him out and take him down. Fazbear Entertainment then threatens Ralph with the bill for Foxy, prompting him to maybe even join the company again. Page 215, Mother ending. This one is the same as the previous one in setup, but different in execution. Coppelia instead uses the pen/screwdriver you gave her earlier, and stabs Foxy in the eye with it, causing him to malfunction. Ralph escapes with her and has her call Bronwyn's mother to tell her what happened to her daughter, saying that they're only alive because of her sacrifice. Page 216, the new Chica ending. This one is another one that's more ambiguous. You tackle Foxy to keep her away from Coppelia, who hides in her bedroom to try and phone the police. You pass out from blood loss, but wake up to find that Coppelia wasn't safe. Instead, Foxy and Chica, without her bib, arrive. In Coppelia's voice, Chica says, "It's me." Personally, I think this is a new Chica, since it's pointed out how there's a bunch of animatronic parts at Freddy's. Otherwise, it would be really weird since we also know Susie is in Chica. Just some thoughts, and maybe I'll expand on this further in a proper video sometime. Page 218. The egg ending. This one's real simple. Chica steps on your head and you die. Your skull cracks like an egg. Nothing to it. Page 219. Betrayal ending. This is another interesting one, as it implies Foxy may have been left out of the plan for the animatronics to leave the restaurant, and he might be bitter about it. In any case, after deactivating the animatronics, you get rushed by Foxy. Ralph reactivates them, but all they do is watch while Foxy kills you. Page 222. It's Me ending. If there was any ending I was saving that name for, it's this one. Freddy reactivates and hops off the stage, and laughs at Ralph in a child's voice while classical music plays over the speakers. All of the animatronics laugh at him even, and Ralph realizes they're kids. So he asks them, "Who?" And Freddy says in a garbled voice, "It's me." Page 226, She's Safe ending. This is another special ending. In this one, Ralph succeeds in stopping the animatronics from leaving, but is supposedly killed by Golden Freddy. But amidst the angry "it's me's" that come from Golden Freddy, there's another voice, most likely Bronwyn's. Bronwyn tells you she's safe, likely referencing Coppelia. Gradually, her repeating this phrase overpowers Golden Freddy's voice, and Ralph dies with a smile on his face. Just a good ending. But speaking of Bronwyn, page 227, Bronwyn ending. In this ending, Ralph takes the head off of Freddy's suit and finds Bronwyn's dismembered corpse inside of it. Bonnie then stuffs Ralph into a suit, but this time it's a Bonnie one. Just an interesting idea. Page 238, Coppelia's gift ending. In this ending, you give Coppelia Mr. Cupcake at home. She thinks it's cute and leaves for school with him in her bag, but she never comes home. When Ralph goes to investigate the bus stop, he finds her stuff just shredded up. Just a really bad ending for Coppelia. And now we come to our final ending of the book, page 241, The End, period. This is the only The End where you can optionally continue. You get it on night 5 after getting your next quest from Bronwyn. You spend the night with Coppelia and you tell her you might have to go back the next night. But you don't have to. You could enjoy your time with her. This ending is all about choice. And that's every single ending in this book, all 73. Some of these definitely stick out, while others are just so simple they're almost painful. In any case, there was one last thing I wanted to do in this video. I wanted to do a kill count of sorts. I wanted to stack every animatronic kill in this book and figure out who was the most deadly. I listed every animatronic in the book, from Foxy to Mr. Cupcake, but I also listed any deaths where the animatronic is not explicitly stated, as well as any deaths from Ralph just making a mistake. For scenarios where we know for sure Ralph or someone else dies and it's likely all the animatronics had a part in it, I added a single kill to all of the main 4. Basically, it came down to interpretation. So let's get started with the least lethal character in the book. Golden Freddy has 1.5 kills to his name, one that's part of the She's Safe ending, and another I sort of counted because Ralph presumably gets stuffed inside of him at one point, which is just, I felt obligated to count it because Golden Freddy just doesn't show up much. With 0.5 more kills than Golden Freddy, we have the Cupcake, who killed Ralph on one occasion and Capella on another. I could have also counted a specific death wherein Mr. Cupcake bites Ralph's leg, but I feel like that one is mostly Chica. Basically, if Ralph could kick Mr. Cupcake off, I think he would have been fine. With 3 kills, we have Ralph's own mistakes. These include the electrocution death, dying in the vents, and mixing chemicals. Just funny enough that Ralph is enough of a dumbass that he's more likely to accidentally die than get killed by Golden Freddy. Tied with 7 kills, we have an unknown animatronic, and Freddy himself. Freddy is actually more absent in this book than I would have liked, but he does have some really stellar moments, so I won't complain too heavily. But as I counted, there are unfortunately 7 deaths where it's not clear who did the killing. Sorry. That brings us to our top 3. We have Chica in third with 12 kills under her belt, a pretty respectable number for sure. She's definitely one of my favorites after this book. Then in number 2 we have Bonnie with 15 kills. Night 5 definitely boosted his numbers a lot with how many random ways Ralph could get killed with the vent behind him. But number 1 was obviously going to be Foxy, and his kill count is 23. Yes, in this book with 73 endings, and 23 of them Foxy kills you. They could have advertised this book as having 50 endings wherein Foxy does not kill you. That number is just insanely high to me, and that's not even counting the endings where he's present, or just how much of the story is dedicated to this guy. And I guess that lines up with the movie where he's the only animatronic to have more than one on-screen victim, unless you count Mr. Cupcake. This book tells me one thing: Foxy is fucking insane. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.